Are you a wealth architect? That's somebody who wants to grow in all areas of life, not only financially, but mentally, physically, and spiritually. This is exactly what we're doing every single week on this show. I'm Emilio Despirito, your host of the Wealth Architect podcast, each and every week here. Wherever you're tuning in, we're glad you're here. We hope that this episode inspires you, motivates you to do something big, and maybe even blows your mind. Make sure you comment and interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. Let's get started. The dynamics in real estate have changed over the past several years, okay? Before, I could tell you, when I was growing up, I remember my uncle owned a couple multifamily properties, and he was making money through the cash flow of these properties. Well, of course, hopefully later on the properties appreciate and you have a great exit strategy there. Now, real estate has changed so much, especially in blue states. And this is not a political thing. It's just blue states tend to have higher taxes and favor tenants over landlords. And if you do live in a blue state, what's happening now with the taxes so high, insurance so high, regulations which make it nearly impossible for you to evict tenants as they destroy your properties. What's happening now is cash flow has near been exhausted, but long-term appreciation is still a thing. So if you are into building wealth through multifamily homes, commercial type of properties, that is absolutely possible. We have to look at the strategy and we have to look at your long-term goals. Now, there's so much you can do with these units. You can do cash out refis. You can, do 1031 exchanges, keep building up. So the long-term wealth strategy in play is there. But again, the cash flow, the instant cash flow is not. So here's how I want you to think about this. You are hedging against inflation when you purchase real estate, okay? So you're purchasing this property and your debt stays the same or basically goes down. It's fixed for most mortgages. It goes down while your tenants are paying your mortgage, okay? So they're literally making your principal go down, and over time you will get that cash flow. Rent is likely going to continue to go up while your principal goes down and the asset increases in value. So the whole moral of the story is buy rental properties, but do not expect to get rich quick off that cash flow. It might take you 7, 10, 15 years or so to start making some serious coin off that cash flow, but go do it, leverage the real estate, and take advantage of this real estate market right now where you can get some really good buy deals. Hey, a special thank you to our sponsor, Annie Mac Home Mortgage, whose Cash to Keys product is disrupting the industry. Sick and tired of finding the perfect home, not having your offer selected? I got to tell you, it happens all the time. With Cash to Keys, Annie Mac gives sellers a cash guarantee for each of their buyers' offers. Stop bidding and hoping. Instead, bid with Annie Mac and bid with confidence. Don't just bid, but win. Annie Mac Mortgage. Have you ever heard of upfront underwriting? Well, I haven't until I started working with Movement Mortgage. Movement Mortgage is one of the top loan originators around the country. Specifically, I want to give a thank you to Matt Bates. And if you're lucky enough to live in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, or New Hampshire, I strongly suggest you contact Matt Bates at rimortgageguy.com. Again, rimortgageguy.com, and he's going to help you to find that dream home. He does upfront underwriting, which means they fully approve you for a mortgage before you even place offers, increasing your chances of winning that dream home. rimortgageguy.com. All right, welcome to the Wealth Architect podcast. I'm Emilio Despirito. I'm so excited for our next guest. Today's guest, he's somebody that's doing what a lot of people talk about, and he's actually doing it. And he started before most people even think about it, right? Actually, he's been doing this for a couple of years. He's 19 years old now. Julius Pieranunzi is just a fantastic guy. I got to know him. I got to know his father. I jumped on his podcast, The WildWhy, which is a podcast, a platform that he's built around one simple but powerful idea, and it's to learn directly from the world's most successful people. Now, why he had me on the show, I don't know. We're still learning why. But all jokes aside, though, what makes Julius unique is that he didn't wait for permission. He didn't wait for experience or age to start. As a teenager, he's already interviewed high performers around and across business and across, all over this region and probably further beyond. He talks about mindset, he talks about life and extracting insights most people spend decades trying to learn. Julius, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me. This
You're
is
welcome.
great.
Yeah, and you told me this is actually your first radio interview, right?
Yes, it is.
Outside of your podcast.
Yes.
So you're always on the other side of the mic asking
Yes.
all of the questions, and now I get to ask the questions.
Yes.
That's
It's
awesome.
fun. So far, it's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So look, I found a lot of I was inspired when I met you and your father. And you welcomed me into your home, beautiful home, and you have a wonderful studio. And the questions that you asked, I'm like, where did this guy get these questions from, right? Like so insightful. But I want to
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'm so happy to have you here on the Wealth Architect because our program is all about the wealth mindset and becoming not only wealthy financially. That's last place, if you ask me. It's about becoming physically wealthy, mentally wealthy, and spiritually wealthy. So we want to hear from people that are really tuned into that. Right? Tuned into giving that message, receiving that message. And I believe here that our listeners today are going to receive some inspiration from you and a really great message. So again, thank you so much. Now, you've had conversations with high-level performers at a very young age, okay? When you step back and you look at all of them, what are the non-negotiable traits you see in the people who consistently win?
Non-negotiable traits. By the way, it was a pleasure meeting you the first time we met. It was a very educational and it was fun experience. But to answer your question, I think if you're looking for a consistent theme across all of our guests, there's really focus and there's passion. And these are cliche things, but let me give you an example. A lot of the people we interview are older or more elderly. And they're still doing what they love at that age. They haven't stopped. There is, you say to them, what is retirement and for you? And they're like, I don't know. So the lesson to me has been you really want to find something that you love first. And then you figure out how to do it. And a lot of people struggle with that. And I think the framework that I've put together from listening to everybody, and this is really powerful, the co-founder of Johnny Rockets was just back on the show for his second interview. His name's Lloyd Sugarman. Other than Johnny Rockets, he's done PokeWorks franchises, The Sugar Factory, which, by the way, he didn't start it, and it's really funny. People go Sugar Man, Sugar Factory.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The original Soup Man concept, if you've ever seen Seinfeld, the very famous episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they put that in Tetra Pak for a little while. And he still owns the franchise in Atlantic City, I think is where it is.
Wow.
But the big thing from his story was that he had severe ADHD, didn't know what he wanted to do. And he just trial and error, finding different concepts. So I'd say there's kind of a simple 3-step concept for figuring out what it is that you're passionate about. It really first starts with realizing what it is that really brings you joy when you don't have the stimulus of other entertainment. So if you're sitting around going, well, what am I going to do? The first question is probably, what do I do in my spare time anyway? And if the answer is, what have you, video games, even if it's reading, maybe the first thing to do is to step away from that and say, okay, now what am I going to do? What am I going to do that's creative? And then the next step is to see where you have an advantage. Where can you create some kind of additional value for other people based on whatever circumstances that you have? Like right now, being in the real estate industry, I can offer
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You just joined a fantastic firm, Trust Hill, which is part of the Prakashanti group, right?
Yes.
Great.
Prakashanti is a fabulous
amazing
company.
Brand, amazing company. It's awesome. I had to give you guys a shout out there for that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I can offer a different set of value than someone who's been in the industry for a very long time, and vice versa. And each person is a good fit for someone else. So it's taking something that is an advantage or a disadvantage and just making them all into an advantage. I see that kind of as step 2.
So, I mean, just in what you said right there, the first moments of the podcast, there's a lot of really great information there. And the nice thing is, if you're just tuning in and you're like, oh man, I missed some of that, I want you to go to wealtharchitectradio.com and you can go ahead and see all of our past and previous segments, and you can go ahead and tune there, subscribe there. So, Julius, out of all the interviews that you've done so far, is there any one lesson from somebody that's really kind of changed the way that you go about your day, or that has changed your look or shaped your views overall on business, on life? One lesson, maybe something that really punched you in the face that stuck out.
I'm going to borrow a story from Alan. Alan
Alan
Weiss
Weiss?
has been a guest on my show. He's been a guest on your
Awesome
show.
guy. What's
He's
up,
incredible.
Alan? Yeah, shout out.
Yeah. Alan was flying to somewhere. He flew all over the place, but let's just say I think it was Dubai.
Mm.
And he sits down. He always flew first class as a consultant. And he sits in the chair, and it's a beautiful chair. And someone sits next to him. They're very expensive seats. Someone sits next to him, and they're very quiet, and they don't really talk very much. In fact, when the steward comes over to ask for what would you like to drink, or the person had to speak up quite a bit in order for the flight attendant to hear what they were saying. So now, fast forward a little bit, everybody's kind of reclining to go to sleep. So Alan pushes the button on his chair, and nothing happens. And then he does what we probably all do, which is start pushing all the buttons in a panic to try to figure out what was happening. And someone across the aisle starts laughing, and he goes, "What are you laughing at?" He's pushing all the buttons on the other person's chair.
Oh, no. I can see Alan doing that.
Right.
He's so funny.
Well, here's the thing that hit me in the face is who's pushing your buttons? Who's trying to mold your life into a vision of what they want rather than what you want?
Wow.
Yeah, that was a
You
good
feel
one.
that? I just felt that.
That was a good story.
Wow.
So that's one of them that really had an impact. Who is pushing your button? And then that makes you kind of cognizant when people do start to push your buttons.
Wow, you have to, to the producers, you gotta cut that. We gotta put that all over Instagram. Julius, that was wild.
Awesome.
The WildWhy. Follow him on the WildWhy. Go ahead and follow him on YouTube. What's been the hardest part of building and hosting a show, your podcast, that most people wouldn't see from the outside looking in?
Hardest part, and if you're considering doing a show, I think it's one of the most rewarding things you can do. So I'd highly encourage it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's definitely rewarding.
The hardest thing has been figuring out what am I the best at, and what is everything else that someone else is going to be better at than I am, and how to put the people in place that are going to execute at a higher level than I can. That, I would say, is the biggest challenge. I mean, that's for a show, that's for a business, that's for whatever it is. So we're always working through that.
What do you think you're the best at?
I love asking questions. Like
You're
in
very
this
good at asking questions.
In this context, I'm doing my best to restrain myself from asking you any questions.
You're a curious guy, which is great.
That, I'd say, is what I love to do. And I love to listen to what other people have to say. I'm talking a lot right now, but usually you'll see that I like to listen.
You're a great listener, and how important is it to, in a world where attention is so fragmented, right? People have seconds of an attention span, right? How important is it to be a good listener?
I think it's one of the most important things. And the reason being is, growing up, I consider myself very lucky that whenever I had something I wanted to talk about, I could go to my dad or my mom, and they would sit and they would listen to what I had to say. And I think that makes you feel a little better about yourself. It lets you know that you have some support. So the more that you can be that for someone else, whether it's your spouse, your child, your business partner, a random person, I know what it feels like to feel that kind of hug just by being listened to. So that's why I think it's such an important skill, and it's something that anybody can do.
I love that. There's a book called Hug Your Customers, and have you ever heard of it?
No.
Great book. And it's written by a gentleman. I can't remember his name right now. It's probably on my shelf somewhere, but it's written by a gentleman who started a suit company out in Connecticut. Just if you look at his success over the years, right? And they succeeded in a time where it was a recession. They went through the Great Recession where people were not buying so many nice clothes, or even COVID. His store just always flourished. I think they later on sold it. But anyways, check that book out, Hug Your Customers. It literally mimics exactly what you just said right there.
Okay. What was your biggest, sorry, can I ask one thing?
Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from the book?
How important it is that people are heard and understood, and
That's so key.
I look at this as I'm in sales. You're in sales, right? Our job is not to sell somebody something that they don't need. Our job is to help people solve problems, and the sales comes with it. And the bigger problems you solve, the more value you are bringing to the marketplace. And that's really where it's at. So that's what I got out of that book. It's a powerful book. Actually, I just remember I listened to it on Audible, so you can get it on Audible. Hug Your Customers. Julius, one guest, dream guest. Who is that? Who would be a dream guest to have on your podcast?
Elon Musk is an easy one.
Oh,
And
fascinating mind.
Steve Jobs would be someone who passed. The reason I would pick them is because, despite their controversialness, is that a word, controversialness?
I'll take it.
All right, I'm making it up.
I don't know. It sounds right.
They have moved humanity forward in a meaningful way, in my opinion. Whether people are not whether or not people will remember them, I think is even their achievements are a part of our history now.
I feel that people are definitely going to remember them.
Right.
I really do. With your podcast right now, are you doing all the editing? Are you doing all that on your own?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So we have, I'm going to give AJ a shout out. So we've got Lucas behind the scenes over here. We have AJ as well behind the scenes. I've been working with AJ for almost 12 years. And I got to connect you with him just in case if ever you want to outsource that video editing. AJ is a local guy. He works out of Pepperell, Massachusetts. Local. He'll come on site and shoot stuff. But he's great. He does a lot of really nice editing. So when you want to go ahead and do that, I'll connect you with AJ. And I mean, that's what I love about meeting people and about networking with people is like, what can I do to help you? And you have that same mindset. What do you think your life looks like? Like, what are your 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Like, what's your grand vision? What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to go? Where do you want that podcast to go? Who do you want it to influence? Super loaded question.
Well, I'm getting a dose of my own medicine asking people super loaded questions. That's if you want to hear someone ask something they've never been asked before, there's this show and there's my show.
Yeah.
So the specifics of that, I don't know. But the grand vision, which we talked about when I met, was to have the ability to fully pursue the goal of building schools all over the world that redefine how we educate the next generation and future generations to produce more leaders, more thinkers, more people who are willing to be outside of the box. And I think that is the greatest way to unleash. I would like that to be my contribution.
Wow. I remember when you told me that, I was like, whoa, what? Like, who thinks like that? That is such if there's a definition of leadership, it is putting others first. That's it. Leaders are meant to serve, and you put other people first and really to truly care about humanity enough to put together a thought in your head, right? Like that is just amazing. Totally amazing. That's awesome. You are going to be very successful. You already are. Julius, you have such a bright road ahead of you. And we're going to look back and say, hey, look who we had on this podcast. I know that. I feel that about you. You're just such a great soul all around. So thank you so much, Julius. Any last words for this current podcast? Because I'm going to have you back on again for our listeners.
Awesome. Yes, I want to give everyone the third thing that I was talking about in the beginning. We've got to come back to that. So the first thing was to figure out what you love to do. And the way you do that, if you don't know, is to not just have no distractions and to see what you naturally want to do and then to try a lot of things. The second thing is where can you have an advantage? And the third thing is to really have focus and to say no to other things and to keep things simple. So those are the three ingredients that I've taken away from talking to everybody. You've probably heard this before. A lot of my friends are figuring out what they want to do, what degree they're going to pursue, what they eventually want their career to look like. That's been a framework that has been helpful, that has come from talking to everyone I've talked to, working on all the different ventures and other things that I've done up until this point. And I wish someone had said that to me even earlier. So if you're younger than 19 and listening to this, first of all, good for you. This is awesome. Believe in yourself and keep going for it. And hopefully that's helpful to you.
Very helpful. And it's funny is that every major person that we have had on the show, like I'm talking about Hal Elrod, Miracle Morning. We had Frank McKinney, massive custom, spec home developer. The guy builds multi-million-dollar spec homes and then sells them, which is wild. So like you don't normally You don't normally see that, right? That's people in that price range, 10 million, 40 million. Like they're selling custom homes. He builds them spec and sells them, which is wild. They all have said and mimicked similar things there too, which is just great. Julius, before we let everybody go, where can they find you? How can they follow your podcast? You got to follow this guy. He's amazing.
Thank you for asking and the shining endorsement.
Of course. I mean it.
Anywhere on the internet, if you type in Julius Pieranunzi, Pieranunzi, you'll be able to find me. Every social media, and the show is the WildWhy Show. And that's on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Awesome. Good stuff. Hey, Julius, we have a section on the show. If you go to wealtharchitectradio.com, you go to the vault, and you weren't expecting this question. You go to the vault. For our listeners, you can go ahead, enter your email address in there, and you're going to have access to all of our content here on the show, right? Some specialized content, stuff that our contributors are giving. Do you have anything you want to share on the vault? It could be anything. It could be, your favorite thing that you've learned that have helped shape your where you're at, your mindset. It could be something somebody has taught you. It could be anything. It could just be, hey, where do I find Julius out in the world? How do I follow his podcast? Do you want to share anything in the vault?
In 2017, we went on a trip to India and Bhutan.
Mm-hmm.
And as a part of that trip, we stayed at a wonderful hotel. We saw the beautiful parts of India. And then towards the end, we ended up at the famous river where thousands of people make the pilgrimage through the river each year to go to a certain temple. Mm-hmm. The specifics are escaping me. But they took us there, and there was a flower market right underneath the bridge where we were, and we were in a group. And so people in the group are buying flowers. But I'll never forget turning around and looking underneath the bridge and seeing two boys and their dad living in cardboard boxes with a tarp covering the cardboard boxes. Mm. And these two kids looked at me, and I looked at them. And, to see someone your own age and the difference in opportunity that's available just because I happen to be born in the United States and they happen to be born in India. Mm. That's a part of the incredible feeling of gratitude of being an American and being born here. So,
wow,
very proud, and I feel that it's important to give back.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Good stuff. Perfect.
Is that good for the vault?
That's perfect. Well, the vault is actually content that we add into the physical vault.
Oh, cool.
As well, but that's
okay.
that is also in the show as well too, Julius.
Okay,
fantastic, Julius Pieranunzi, and you can think about it too. We'll have it on for when the show airs. We're gonna have something on there.
Okay,
we'll talk about it. Good stuff, Julius. Thank you so much. When you're considering buying a home or a condo or even an investment property, it's so important to hire the right home inspector. Specifically, if you're in Rhode Island, the home inspector that I always like to recommend is Mike Auger of Patriot Home Inspections, homeinspectorri.com. Why do I use Mike? Number one, he's not an alarmist. He's not going to scare you. He's going to walk you through everything you need to know about the house. You can follow him around like a puppy dog. Ask as many questions as you can. He'll tell you how the heating system works, how the electrical works, how the plumbing is, and he could save you thousands of dollars or even a future headache. If you are looking to sell a home, it's important to disclose as much information as you can ahead of time, and Mike Auger can put together a pre-list home inspection report, so when your realtor represents you and gives the buyer's agent the report, everything is disclosed that needs to get fixed, and the price is the price, and you sell your home like that. There's so many benefits to using the right home inspector, and again, Mike Auger with Patriot Home Inspectors, homeinspectorri.com. Check them out. All right, joining us today, we've got Robert Tait. He is not only a licensed partner, but also a private office advisor with Engel Völkers. He operates out of Denver and also Breckenridge. And he's also a team leader of D Street Brokers, which is a high-performance team known for working with buyers and sellers in his marketplace and referring people globally. The thing that I love about Robert is he is a high-level thinker, and we've got a deep discussion we're going to have today on not only how to run a team, but also and make that team profitable, but also AI, right? We're going to dive into a little bit of AI and how some agents get it completely wrong. So I'm looking forward to this conversation and these topics. We're going to have a lot of fun. Robert, welcome to the Wealth Architect.
I am so excited. Thank you for having me. I finally got to the level where I deserve to be here with you.
Robert, you're too nice. You're too kind, man. So, yeah, no, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. So, you said agents need to move beyond being local experts, okay? What does that actually look like in practice, and who's going to get left behind?
If you think about it, right, way back in like the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
information around the market, comps, etc., like that was exclusively ours, right? So how a property was moving, what prices they were going to, the insider track on what's developing, what isn't, as well as just like local flavor, right? Like that was all housed with the agent. And then came the aggregators. Zillow opened up the MLS and put it on the World Wide Web, and everyone thought real estate was going to die, right? And part of that knowledge, that access to information, not knowledge, but access to information, got taken away from us as a value prop, right?
Yep.
Well, ChatGPT, all these AI large language algorithms, they can process data deeper, quicker, stronger, faster than we ever could, right? So as AI gets better and smarter, knowing price per square foot or knowing all of these things are going away, right? Even some of the flavor of our industry, of the neighborhoods that we service, if that's going into blog posts, if that's going into media, if that's going anywhere accessible by AI, that as we are the gatekeepers to that is going to go away as a value proposition. So I think we as agents need to reposition ourselves, not just be like, hey, call me because I know Wash Park, which is an area in Denver, right? I know Wash Park like the back of my hand. AI is going to take that away and say, well, so does AI, right?
Sure.
So something else can compete with you that's at the fingertips at midnight, right? Of the clients, then you've got to come up with a better value. And I think the people that will get left behind are the ones that just like in the 90s, didn't adapt to how the internet was moving. People that don't adapt to how AI is interfacing with people and how people are choosing to use AI, if they neglect that, they'll just all of a sudden not have anyone to talk to.
What's the value prop, though? So what type of value can that advisor be adding when AI can do a majority of what we can do?
Well, no, it's not. It's only very specific things that we can do, right? So right now, and I've trained AI to help me on comps, et cetera, right? I'm still the one saying, hey, this house is worth more than this one because, this is a double yellow, or this is closer to the park, or, all those factors that I know to be true, right? But one day I think that'll kind of go away a little bit. What I'm advising people to do is run to the spaces that AI doesn't do well and won't do well, right? So one of the places that AI doesn't do really well is AI doesn't learn you, right? You teach AI what you want it to know, but it doesn't learn you. So when we take on a buyer or a seller, we get to know them pretty deeply to understand all the facets of their lifestyle, right? Like family dynamics, household dynamics, wealth dynamics, etc. So that way we can help place them, knowing them so deeply, into the right areas. Also, buying and selling real estate is still more of an emotional process than it is a business transaction. I'm not saying it isn't a business transaction, but AI is crap with emotions, right? It will just affirm whatever it is you want. And I think it's going to stay there. Understanding our clients, their needs, and then how their emotions play with their needs to help them then facilitate this business transaction. That's where we win. And that's where AI will never be able to mess with.
The human component. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree 100% with that. It's so interesting because anybody watching the news right now can see Real Brokerage. They're taking over Remax. They're gonna acquire Remax. You've seen Compass acquire Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, regional players, At Properties, Christie's, so on and so forth. Right. What I believe is happening here is they are buying data. They are collecting data, and I believe that they are going to use this data to take away as much of the process as possible from their real estate agents. And then I think ultimately the goal would be to pay real estate agents a lot less, like a smaller salary, take those profits so that they could drive their stocks up, right? And their stockholders are happy. And ultimately, a lot of those brands are going to get left with no one that operates like an advisor, no one that's really fully out there operating as the capacity of a real estate advisor today. No more 1099s with them. I think it's going to be W-2s. And I think they're looking to siphon the profit out by replacing as many steps in the process as possible with AI, but using the humans to do the things that only humans can do right now. I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds a little conspiracy theory, right? When
Yeah,
you're like,
it's
oh,
not,
these
but
big
yeah.
companies are going to take all this over. But I couldn't agree with you more. And it just seems if I was running one of these very large companies, the
Mm-hmm.
most logical step would be how do I increase my, like they always have, you're a publicly traded company. You have a responsibility to the shareholders to
Sure.
raise profits, right? And if you look at the income sheet of any real estate brokerage, right? GCI, they all count that as their money. And then
Mm-hmm.
next is cost of sales. Well, cost of sales, that's the agent split, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you give 80% of that GCI to the agent and you retain 20%, and that's how you pay your bills and produce profit, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys got to ask themselves, how do I move that from 80% to 60% or to
Mm-hmm.
50% or 40%, right? How do I change that ratio? And if you look at any of the income statements of any of these large companies, even a 15% downswing in that is massive money, massive money.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think they're thinking about how to change that when their highest expense, cost of sales, is the real estate agent? That they're
Of
not sitting
course.
there going, how could I mess with that and increase my bottom line? As technology is getting better, as AI and everything else, you can't help but wonder, just like some other industries have seen, can we consolidate the agent? Can we figure out how to use this data to be the first point of contact of a lead? And the second they're a first point of contact, the second you call Compass rather than call your agent, right? Or you
Yep.
call Real or whatever. As soon as you call the company, agents just lost that game.
Absolutely. I don't think it's far-fetched. I don't think it's conspiracy theory. I think it just makes sense when you're dealing with publicly traded companies. Just as you said, we're an expense. Agents are an expense on their sheet, right? On the profit and loss. So how can they not fully eliminate the expense, but how can they minimize it, right? And I think that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of profit that they can pull from that, and I really think that's the grand scheme of things. And I see a lot of these agents getting excited about this movement and this and that, but they're literally signing their death wish. And now I'm curious on your thoughts, right? How are those real estate firms that these other companies are calling archaic, right? Like, how are the other real estate firms like Engel and Völkers, okay, and some other boutique style brokerages? How do you think those advisors are going to fare through all of this?
I always think that the value proposition of a brokerage is to the agent, right? But then the second that these companies went public and are getting so big, their value proposition is first stockholders and then possibly agents, right?
Right.
So boutiques like ours, like EV, and some others out there, I think if they really go in and continually hold to standard their value, I think they're going to fare weather fine. right? If I were a betting man, I think the Zillow, Compasses, those large data aggregators of the world, I think they're going to win the bottom market. I think first-time home buyers will
Same. I
go
said
to
the same
Compass.
thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're going to lose the bottom market, just like it's probably still smart for you to go buy a car from a car broker because you get
Hmm.
exactly what you want, you get a great price, et cetera. But a lot of people I'll just go on Kia's website and do yellow, great, boom, send, right?
Hmm.
I think if you want to be in this career for 20 or 30 more years, one, you're going to have to shift away from some of these really large companies. And two, you're going to have to focus more on higher end buyers and sellers because
Hmm.
those guys, appreciate the advisor aspect, right? They like that somebody is there, knows them, and is going to make sure they're taken care of. And then secondly, that group of people is busy. They've got families, they've got careers, they've got jobs, and not that first time home buyers or all these people don't, right? But they're
Hmm.
so packed and stacked in their life that they're like, handle it.
Yep.
Thank you. Right. And so I think if you want to be in this career a long term, you've got to position yourself more to go into that luxury space or luxury adjacent. Don't be scared of like high net worth, etc. You got to go there or start prepping your resume and get really good at being a salesperson because you'll just be one of Compass's phone monkeys.
Well, it won't be even salespeople. It'll be order takers. And
Mhm.
and who knows how far off this could be? It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. But the way that things are moving with technology and the way these companies are moving, they don't want to push that off forever. Like that is, I think that is the goal, right? And that is their initiative. Their initiative is to add more coin to their stockholders' pockets and to keep this thing rolling, keep it moving. And that's that. So it's really interesting your take on that. And of course, as this continues to evolve and things change, we'll update our listeners. But it's pretty interesting. And I'll just say this. I believe that the value of a true advisor is only going to raise, it's only going to go up while the bottom level of the market, fights over the scraps, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. And we're kind of, as you said earlier, we're doing this to ourselves in some capacity, right? Like I run a team, you run a team, right? But there are certain aspects of running a team we'll never run to, which is really popular with other really large teams. Stuff like showing agent, right? Like, oh, I'm your real estate agent, but I'm not going to go show you homes. How do I know that that was a great house for you without seeing it? Like, yeah, I
Mm,
can see pictures and all that sort of stuff, but I didn't walk it. I don't know if the floors, have some wonkiness here. I don't know if that master bedroom, even off of photos, is too big, too small, right? I don't have a vibe or feel for the house. We're already teaching the consumers, or some of the agents out there are already teaching the consumer the point of the agent is a property broker or a property agent, not your advisor, your fiduciary. And I think the trend's already on its way.
mm.
These teams are doing it to themselves. These agents are doing it to themselves. And I think 10 years from now, it will look a lot different. You're seeing the consolidation of all these big companies. You'll probably see a consolidation of services soon and agent base.
Mm. That's interesting. The way that I operate my team, the Despirito team, is we we want, like, as a team leader, I want to be doing the highest level things for my clients, right? And you need a team to support you behind the scenes. So we've got these systems in place. We got the transaction coordinator. We have the client concierge that schedules all the showings. I do use servicing advisors to bring my clients into properties on the road, because if my client wants to get into a property and my schedule is insanely packed and I can't get them in Rhode Island, we're physically showing properties still, right? We don't do lock boxes. Same thing with my listings. I want to make sure my listings are shown. So every market's a bit different, but that is how we're doing it. And I do feel that if you know the market and you know the inventory, that you can advise them on here's what to do, here's what not to do. This house might not work for you, because we're also getting the intel from a highly trained real estate advisor that works directly for me.
And I was talking more like that app Showmanly or
I don't
Showmanly.
know.
Yeah. Oh, like it's these. So no, it is not like a buyer's agent or a showing agent on my team that's also there and knows that client just as well as I do. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these. Oh, I can't do it on Saturday, or I don't show property or anything like that. I'm going to jump on this app. I'm going to hire any agent at random to just open the door.
Wow, no way. Yeah, there goes your
Oh yeah,
fiduciary responsibility. Like, how
yeah.
is that? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. Oh my God, it's
Wow.
very popular. And then that
Wow.
showing agent gets paid like 50, $75 or something like that. But
Could
yeah.
you imagine? But you see, this is what I'm talking about, right? So like if you're an agent right now in the space, you could be making, attorney money, doctor money, okay? Because it's valuable what we do. But what's going to happen is that's going to boil down into like a $20 to $40 an hour job with the salary. Like you're going to be a Redfin agent before you know it. Or worse or less, and the whole move is, and we're going to jump from this subject in a second, Rob, but the whole move is, I think that even the government wants to get all of the agents into a W-2 type of thing. And what do you lose if you do that? You lose your ability to write off business expenses. You lose your ability to operate independently. You lose your ability to be what you are now, right? You lose your ability to operate at the highest of level. Like if you want to travel and if you want to go to a real estate conference and better your skills, if you're a W-2 employee, you're not writing that off. So how is that going to impact things too? There's 1.5 million real estate agents, or I'm sorry, realtors in the United States right now. Do you think that number is going to come down with technology and with these changes? Do you think it's going to go up? Do you think it's going to stay the same? I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Oh, it's going to go down, right? It
I
has
think
to.
so too. Yeah.
And on the W-2 side, imagine like think of this. If somebody's paying you a double W-2, W-2 is
Hmm.
guaranteed money, right? Like hourly or salary, right? Those are your only options. Do you want determined by the broker, right? That would be the guy who's paying you
Yeah.
to to set your hourly and salary. And then since he has to pay you, right? That comes with strings. Anytime there's guaranteed money, there's strings. So now the entire world flips as an agent. You don't have freedom. You don't have flexibility. You
Hmm.
don't have to do it the way you want to, et cetera, right? Right now, all those risks are mine. If I don't get up and work,
That's right.
I don't make a sale. But the second it's up to the broker, now he's gonna be like, now you're on the phone for he's gonna have to have guarantees that he can generate money to thus pay you, right? It would change the entire game.
Hmm. And you know what? The other thing too for the consumer is this is like if somebody is getting paid, guaranteed paid, what incentive are they gonna? How hard are they gonna hustle? I can tell you, there's a huge difference between order taker agents. Those are agents that just get like referrals or leads from their, from a team or from someone else, versus the hustlers. I want to hire a hustler. I want to hire somebody that is really great in sales, that can negotiate, that knows the ins and outs. I want to hire a specialist. And I think that you're going to, again, going back to the advisors, I think you're going to find that there's going to be still a large group of agents turning advisors, of people that are taking a little bit more of that more traditional full service type of approach to the business. And I think that those people are going to do really well in the business too. So it's kind of funny. Let's see how it all shakes out. We can replay this 5-10 years from now and say, hey, we were right on the money, or we were wrong and we are out of jobs, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a plan B. I've been doing this 17 years. So, you know, I do have to act and operate as if it will be here I'm kind of a thought leader. I'm a speaker at conferences, et cetera, right? Like it's
Right.
part of my job to talk to the realtor base and say, guys, if you don't wake up and look or do things, we're all gone. Right. So I'm
Right.
I'm a leader. We've got to take responsibility or else we'll lose.
Absolutely. So that actually takes us into this next point right here. Now, you've built multiple businesses around real estate, as have I, right? And I think that's a great thing. What's the bigger vision there, and how does that change the client experience?
So there's this concept that's really popular. It's called a family office. And I think it's being abused, but that's another topic. But a family office is one small group of people who are generalists and excellent and very, very smart, know everything there is to know about you. And
Hmm.
because they're very smart and very good and know everything about you, they will then go out and handle all the things that you need done, right? You could go as crazy as they set up your doctor's appointments, but for the most part, it's all around your money and that sort of stuff. I thought to myself, why don't, where the family offices were just kind of being a buzzword about 10 years ago, I started thinking, well, why is that only available to the super wealthy? And how could I create a family office like situation where when a client comes into our ecosystem, we can help them take care of everything that they need, right? So that's how it kind of started. I find that so many industries have turned, transactional, and I'm just
Hmm.
not a transactional person. So, I started a property management company. A lot of the reason is I would teach people how to make wealth in real estate. And I didn't have anyone to hand it to and say, like, okay, now you manage this. That is great, right? Like, they didn't take care of them like I would. They didn't care for them like I would. So I was like, screw it. If I can't find somebody to refer to, I'll start it myself. And that's, how property management started. Same thing with
Hmm.
insurance. We would help a client purchase something. They would go on to geico.com or whatever. Right? And Geico's not a bad company, but they would just go on to get their cheapest quote they could, and then something would happen. And they were not well protected, not well insulated. So I'm like, well, screw this. I'll just start an insurance company and make
Hmm.
sure that our clients are introduced to companies that value service first, that value advising first, and that think of you first. And that's how we make all of our money. Right. And
Hmm.
so that's kind of how they all got started.
Wow. I love that. How do you keep it all together? So you're a business owner, you're running multiple facets. I mean, you're running one, two, three businesses
And a charity. Yeah.
and a charity. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, how do you have that much time in a day? Like, what are you doing?
Well, so funny you should say that, right? So right now I'm sitting in Breckenridge, Colorado at my Vistage retreat, hanging out with a bunch of CEOs, and I'm one of
Hmm.
the smaller CEOs in my group for sure. It's the same way they do it, right? They hire really competent people that share their
Amen.
mission, vision, and values
Hmm.
to execute the company's mission and vision, right? So we've just got a lot of really, really great people that operate in those spaces. Rick Klein with our insurance agency knows insurance inside and out, and all he cares about is that you are happy and feel great about your insurance and you were well educated to make a great choice.
Hmm.
Eric at Level Up Property Management, he kind of runs the entire boat there. And all he's concerned with is the tenant happy, so that way we get renewals and they take care of the house. So he contacts them and talks to them, and he cares that they're happy, and the landlord's happy, and the landlord is happy when the property is well taken care of and there's low vacancy rates.
So, Rob, you've been in real estate about what, 16, 17 years, right?
Yeah, since 2008.
Okay, cool, cool. All right. So now looking back 2008, which that year had all of its own problems, right? All of its own chaos. Are you like surprised at the trajectory of your career? I mean, you've been very successful. You've opened up all these businesses. Did you have that thought going into real estate that you were going to do so much more, or going into real estate where you're just like, oh, I'm going to get into real estate, I'm going to sell real estate?
I got into real estate by accident.
That's how it usually happens.
Yeah, so I was a teacher, and I was a history teacher,
Hmm.
and there were no history teaching jobs available. I worked with this interesting charter school for a minute, but that was not great. And then I tried to go back to be a normal teacher, and there were no history teaching jobs available. So one of my mentors at the time said, "Hey, Rob, I've got this real estate office. Could you get into it? I just need somebody I can trust. I'm probably going to have to shut it down or merge it with another one. And until I, work all that out, I need someone there that I know, like, and trust." Fast forward a year later, me and the other guy that were there turned that office around, like just because I was like, well, I'm not just going to sit here and like, I'll try to make this better, right?
Yeah,
And
that's you. That's very you.
yeah, and what was neat about it is I didn't have any fear of doing anything because it was shutting down or merging. Like that was the plan, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll just read some business books and experiment and do all this. And then a year later, went from losing like $250,000 to almost breaking even. And that was 2009. So he was like, I'm stoked. And I just never left.
Well, that's amazing. Well, you've made quite a name for yourself, and I don't know that there's anybody in the network that doesn't know Robert Tait. And look, if you want to find out more about Robert Tait or want to connect with him, feel free to follow him on Instagram, of course, or check out dstreetbrokers.com. Again, the letter D, streetbrokers.com. Robert Tait, team owner, and also private office advisor with Engel Völkers Denver and Breckenridge. Robert, great having you here.
Hey, thanks so much, man.
You're welcome. I enjoyed the conversation, and we'll see you very soon.
Perfect. See you in September.
Another episode in the books, and you can check it all out at wealtharchitectradio.com. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and check out the Vault as well. So this is previous segments that we had. There's some really great content in there. You can check that out. And make sure you follow our guests as well. Julius, check him out. Unbelievable. And Robert with Engel Völkers and Denver and Breckenridge. Just fantastic people. We learn so much from the folks that come in on this show. We hope you're enjoying it. Make sure you reach out to us and let us know what content you enjoyed, what else you want to hear and see more of. God bless you. We'll be back here next week on the Wealth Architect Radio. I'm Emilio Despirito. We'll see you later. Peace.